Well, ladies and gentlemen, this next fight is for the vacant IBF Pan-Pacific Cruiserweight title. Fighting out of the USA, please welcome our red corner, Patrick Ferguson. And his opponent from Australia, Kelleher. And a big thanks to our sponsors, UltraTune, here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, for our 5-star boxing event. This fight is for the vacant IBF Pan-Pacific Cruiserweight title. First of all, fighting out of the red corner, he weighed in at 90.45 kilos. 16 fights, 14 wins and 1 draw. Training at the Sunny Fry Boxing Gym, he fights out of Spokane, US of A. Please welcome Patrick Ferguson. In our blue corner, he weighed in at 89.6 kilos. 14 fights, 11 wins and 2 draws. He fights out of the Corporate Box Gym in East Brisbane. The Australian Cruiserweight Champion, Kelleher.
Dave, can't start till the doctor comes. Doctor Hasen's in the house. Yeah.
Gentlemen, I've spoken to you both in the dressing room. You know exactly what I expect. Obey my commands at all times and protect yourself at all times. Touch them up, good luck to both of you.
It's going to be on in this fight here. Kelleher, Ferguson from USA. He's had 1 or 2 fights in New Zealand too, has Ferguson. And like I said, he's a busy fighter. He's in great physical condition and he looks to outwork his opponents.
Yeah, great matchup.
10 rounds of boxing action.
Ben Kelleher, as we know, former MMA fighter, kickboxer. He broke his leg and I think it was a kickboxing fight, so he decided to just focus solely on boxing. And he's doing well. This is a good matchup. It's an even matchup. And I think this will bring out the best in both fighters.
It was a good decision for him to turn to boxing because he's won the Australian Cruiserweight title already. I think it was June or July last year, and defended it once already. I think it was early this year against Yuria Afamasaga. We're both there calling the fights. So really good decision for him to turn to pro boxing as they both try and work each other out in this early stage here. Both boys looking very comfortable in the ring.
I can see here that Ferguson has had a long history in the sport of boxing. I don't know how many amateurs he's had, but it wouldn't surprise me if he's had quite a few, because he just seems so relaxed. He knows exactly what to do in the beginning of this fight. He knows how to position himself. He knows how to get his opponent against the ropes. Like I was saying, from what I've seen of his fights, and I could be wrong, but he doesn't seem to be like a big one-punch knockout, puncher, fighter. Even though he's had 11 knockouts, he seems to outwear and out-hustle his opponents. But I could be wrong.
Well, Pat turned pro back in 2016, and up until his last fight, he was undefeated in 15 pro outings. So his only loss came in his last fight against Abraham Tabul, and that was a unanimous points loss for the WBO African title. So he's got good pedigree behind him. He's got good experience behind him.
So Tabul's a good fighter.
Yes, so it'll be a tough one here for Ben tonight.
Ben landed a sneaky right hand before. He just had a little bit of a right hand here, so I'm hoping that will see him gain in a little bit of confidence and look to land his heavy punches. Another little cheeky right hand here. He's starting, when a fighter starts having success with a certain punch, they grow in confidence and then they look to land with big, heavy shots with power behind it. Ferguson always stalking, putting that jab out there.
Yeah, both boys just trying to find their distance. Ben doing a good job of jabbing to the body to try and find that distance.
Fellas, tidy it up.
So that's what I noticed about him before, in my little bit of homework. It reminds me of how I was talking about Ray Ingram, is at that one pace. To me, Ferguson seems to stay at one pace throughout his fights. Yep. It is a busy pace, I'll give him that. It's a busy pace, and he stays on his opponents, and he outworks them, and he out-hustles them. He's in great physical condition. But a guy like Ben Kelleher can unleash with heavy shots.
Well, that was a good chopping right hand there from Ben Kelleher, catching the attention of Pat Ferguson.
He's got to stay relaxed himself because he cannot afford to lose any energy, because a guy like Ferguson will be there all night.
He'll be there at the end, that's right.
But I'd like to see Ben Kelleher invest in some body shots. Early in the fight, invest in some body shots. I mean, it's a 10-round fight. It's a long time being there. It's half an hour fighting, so you want to, invest in some nice body shots early on.
It's a 10-round fight, and they're fighting for the IBF Pan Pacific Cruiserweight title. So there's a belt on the line here in this particular contest.
Close round that one, Dave. You'd think the hometown boy Ben Kelleher would have had enough to win that fight. A few little chopping right hands.
Yeah, I think he did enough. It was those couple of right hands. It was probably enough of the deciding factor to give him that round. But I don't know. It was a very, very sort of neutral round for both boys, just testing the waters. It'll be interesting to see once it warms up.
Ferguson, having been based in the States, you would think he would have just had the best sparring throughout his whole career, throughout his whole time in boxing. I mean, we don't know from the outside looking in, but you just think so. There's so many fighters to spar over there in the States. There's gyms full of them. And they all can hold their own. I mean, even if guys are in bad condition, physically unfit, they still spar and they spar and they spar. And that's nice from Ben Kelleher, looking for the body shots. Get his opponent in the corner and sink them to the body.
But had a couple of training camps over in the States, and you're 100% right. Their spars sometimes are more heavy than actual real fights. So, I mean, he would have plenty of experience coming out of the States.
The old saying in boxing, Dave, he's got his iron. You know, for people who don't really understand what that means, when you haven't sparred, put it this way, when you haven't sparred, your eye's not in. When your eye is in, when you've done a lot of sparring, you see the punches coming. This beautiful right hand from Ben Kelleher. It wasn't that heavy, but it was a nice shot. It got the attention of Patrick Ferguson, and then he was able to follow up with a nice little chopping left hook. Seems to be growing in confidence here, Ben Kelleher, doesn't he?
Yeah, great right hand from Kelleher, but I like this. He's not rushing in.
No.
He's not pushing the fact, because he knows when he rushes in, he's susceptible to getting punched himself. So he's being very cruisy at the moment, just relaxing and just letting his better shots do the speaking for him.
And what I was saying about Ferguson, he's a one-pace man. He stays at the one pace. I think it was excellent matchmaking from your dad, because this is the sort of fighter that Ben Kelleher needs right now. Someone who will be there, someone who will take him these rounds, but won't necessarily be a one-punch. You know, he won't conflict a lot of pain on Ben Kelleher.
Yep.
Hopefully for Ben Kelleher and his team, as he's able there to land with a nice heavy left hand.
Oh, that was a right hand, left hook, both connecting there from Kelleher. Good power.
So growing in confidence, looking at his corner, giving the little nod, yes, 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 I know what I'm doing. He's got to be careful here, of course, but he's able so far to be, to land some heavy shots, to unload and unleash with some heavy power, and that's what you want to be able to do in the ring, especially early in the fight.
Well, this is the real first breakout onto the world stage for Ben tonight, and he's never afraid of a challenge, as we know, and he's looking to be very comfortable in there. It looks like he's coping with the big affair, so he's doing a marvelous job at the minute. He's taunting him a little bit. That's showing confidence, Carly.
And it looks too that he wants to try and get himself in a position to land a big right hand or a big left hook. That's nice, good head movement there. Like you said, he's going in confidence.
Yep.
From our unofficial scorecard, it could be 2 rounds up for Ben Kelleher.
I agree. An entertaining round, that one. It was a big right hand from Ben Kelleher that scored most of the punishment in that one. Look at that, bang, and the left hook to follow. There was the receipt from Ben Kelleher. 2 great punches, but to Ferguson's credit, he just wiped them off and went on with his job.
Yeah, like I was mentioning before, I think this is great matchmaking by your dad, because Ferguson's the sort of guy who will be there. He's not going to come with big, heavy thudding shots, but he's going to be there and he's going to make you dig deep. Ben Kelleher is going to have to pull his pants up and fight this man. And that's exactly what he's doing, and that's exactly what he needs this stage of his career.
After the event to the front door of the Toy Box.
Good jab to start off the round for Ben Kelleher. Really trying to dictate the pace of this fight, leading to the body, leading to the head, mixing it up very well, Kelleher. As you can see, Pat Ferguson just trying to lunge and reach, but he's just missing the mark with his jabs there.
So it's like I was saying, he's got that one pace, Ferguson. He's got that one pace, but he is able to outwork and out-hustle most of his opponents, especially if they're not in the same physical condition that he is. Ben Kelleher obviously is, and like you mentioned, he's growing in confidence, which means he will start looking for his heavy shots. He will start, feeling comfortable in there, that he can just evade those punches, which makes him harder to hit.
Look for the left hook from Kelleher. He's missed a couple of times with it, but he's edging closer every time he's throwing it. I reckon that might be the punch that takes out Ferguson if there is going to be a punch.
Like you said before, he's nice and relaxed. It looks good. He's looking for shots. He's trying different things. And 2 things that I like, he's showing head movement and he's going to the body.
Don't hold, boys. Come on,
See, a
box
fight
out
like
there.
this
Box out, Ben.
will just do so much for
Okay,
his
break,
career
step back.
because, you know, should you be victorious, you would have had to have worked for your
Come on,
victory.
fellas, don't hold.
There's nothing
Let him
easy for a
go.
guy like Ferguson's
Let him
in
go.
great physical
Come on, fellas,
condition,
don't hold. Get your hands
but he's
free.
not a devastating
Okay,
puncher.
break, step
But he
back.
is a fighter,
Fellas, tidy it up.
and he will fight you for every second of every round.
And it's on the big stage here tonight. It's a big crowd. It's a big venue. It's under the bright lights. So this will be this will do the world of good for Ben Kelleher in his career.
It would do him right, I feel, if he could sink some to the body and come over the top with the left hook to the head. You know, with a guy like Ferguson, you don't want to overexert yourself too early. You know, you'll feel confident, you'll feel his punches aren't hurting me. You don't want to overexert yourself because, like I said, you get tired, a guy like Ferguson will be there punching you, punching you, punching you, and he will outwork you and out-hustle you. I like what Kelleher's doing here in the sense that he's staying relaxed. He's finding some shots, he's getting confident, he's not getting carried away.
And
He's staying professional.
This contest is definitely not a sprint. It's obviously fought over the 10 by 3 minutes rounds for the IBF Pan Pacific Cruiserweight title, so it's not a sprint. So they've got to invest in the body, I think, a little bit more because they'll pay dividends towards the latter end of the fight.
Two things, invest in the body and stay relaxed.
Time.
Another good round there from Ben Kelleher, just relaxing his way into the fight again. Just doing enough at this stage.
Next up, we've got Mr. Jacob NG, the crowd pleaser. As we see here, basically what we've seen so far in this fight, Kelleher's looking, he's staying relaxed, showing some head movement. Ferguson just staying at that one pace. He's not, you know, for me, he doesn't show outbursts. He doesn't change it up. He just stays at the same pace and just keeps working, just keep working. Look at him, he's in great physical condition. He's not puffing, he's breathing through his nose.
Yeah, not breathing at all. He's definitely in great shape. He'll be here for the full 10 rounds.
You just wonder if a guy like this, you know, injected a little bit of explosiveness in his training and in his fighting and his punch output, what kind of fighter, what kind of champion would he be? Because he definitely has the eye, he definitely knows what he's doing, he's got good positioning, good balance, just doesn't seem to explode enough for me from the outside looking in.
There's that left hook once again from Kelleher. Catching the gloves that time.
So Kelleher has worked a lot on his balance. All these fights we've seen him, he's improved a lot and he's got his balance. You can see it starts from the feet, starts from the toes. He's always on balance and that way he's able to throw those body and the head hooks over the top at the end. His balance is nice.
You can see him edging a little bit closer to his opponent with that lead foot. You'll see it soon. He just edges up that ever so slightly with his front foot. Just gets within that distance so he can throw his better punches.
You know, lack of experience, sometimes he gets himself in a position to land that big shot, but he doesn't throw it, and that's just experience. And that's where he will improve having fights like this. Like I mentioned before, a few times, great matchmaking by your dad to bring his fighter along.
Get your hands free. Okay, break, step back.
Oh, good left hook once again there from Kelleher. And he's thinking all the way through this bout. And this Pat Ferguson is allowing him to think. That's the problem. He's not exerting too much energy on him that he's panicking. He's allowing him enough room to get his better shots off and think about the shots and his placement of those shots before he throws too many.
You know, a guy like Kelleher will be there all night. And he'll be, like Ferguson, he'll be there all night and he'll be fighting you all night, but he does not possess explosive power, which makes a fight hard for himself, I feel. You know, for less opponents, he's able to outwork them, he's able to out-hustle them, and he's able to stop them because he's just too fit and too relentless. But he's not throwing any meaningful explosive shots like we see Ben here trying to look for. He's trying to find his balance and come up with the big left hooks. And as you said before, he's growing in confidence, which makes it a little bit easier for him.
An experienced fighter like Ben Kelleher knows how to ride a punch as well. Obviously, Ferguson's got
Hands free, don't hold
11 KOs out of his 14 wins, so you'd think he's a massive puncher. But like you said, it's the caliber of fighter that he's fighting.
Yep.
Ben knows how to evade a punch and knows how to ride a punch, so it takes the power right out of the punch.
Well, 16 odd fights for Ferguson. He's coming along, learning as he goes, and he's fighting. He has his easy fights. The guys that he should beat, he's beaten. Now it's slowly that time to start stepping up. International fights. A guy like Ben Kelleher, who's had 14 odd fights himself. It is a big step up for both fighters because you've got someone in front of you who will challenge you.
There's a good right hand there from Kelleher just before you started speaking, and a right hand just missing the mark there right at the death. Another good round from Kelleher, just dictating the pace. More with his feet, just really balanced well, controlling the fight, just breaking down that distance and cutting off the ring when he has to. Really edging his opponent to the corner. Doing a marvellous job so far, Ben Kelleher.
From the actions, we can see Ben Kelleher's corners telling him to finish with the right hand over the top. I mean, they're happy with how their charge is performing. They're happy with what they're seeing. They're starting to see him land some heavy shots, at least attempt to throw heavy shots. His feet are always nicely balanced. Ferguson, on the other hand, he just that one pace. And I think this is such a great, fight for Ben Kelleher because it's there for him to win, but he's going to have to work hard because this opponent, look at him, Kelleher, look at Ferguson. He's always in front of you. He's always coming. He's always letting his hands go. They're not explosive fashion, but he's there.
And these are the fights that make you work. Ferguson always sitting in the pocket. You've always got somebody constantly in front of you, and that just sucks the energy out of you. So if Ben Kelleher wasn't fit, he'd be really feeling the pace of this fight now just by his pure presence of Ferguson.
And right now, every boxer watching on epicenter.tv is understanding exactly what you're saying because it can be such a lonely place inside the boxing ring when you're not fit. Especially when you're in with a fighter that you know that you can beat, but you just can't breathe. That's the type of guy Ferguson is. He just keeps coming. He's in great physical condition. I'm sure this man could run marathons. You know what I mean? But I'd like to see him do some explosive work, practice some explosive punching.
Okay, break, step
And I'm
back.
sure he'd be a
Step
very,
back.
very, very dangerous opponent for anybody. Kelleher is learning well. He's learning a lot in his past fights. He's building his career. He's learning how to ride punches, how to throw some heavy shots, and I'm sure he's going to learn a lot from this fight.
And he's learning on the job too, Carly. Obviously, he has got a kickboxing background, so he's fairly newish to the boxing arena. So he's learning on the job. Every fight he's getting better, as we've seen.
You can tell with a lot of kickboxers, they come to boxing, it's hard for them not to rely on their legs, on their feet. And this is what I like about Ben Kelleher. We see him when he finds his balance, he does his little feet. He gets his feet right first, and then he looks to fight, which is good. Well, you see him here getting his feet right, and then he comes to punch. It's a little thing, but I think it's a good thing for him.
Get your hands free, fellas. Come on, get your hands free. Okay, break, step back.
One of the last things a fighter learns is how to in-fight, how to be comfortable in there. As you realize, and you can see these guys here, they're not really comfortable in fighting yet. But they're fighting. They're having a good scrap right now. They've warmed up and they're bringing out the best of each other.
You can see Ferguson taking more of a front foot step now. He's starting to dictate the pace. You can see him marching forward as opposed to Ben Kelleher marching him forward.
This man doesn't get tired. I'm convinced he could run a marathon straight after this fight, easily. Look, he's just so comfortable coming in there.
Come on, fellas.
His eyes good, his jab's good. Just the only thing to me is at that one pace.
Yep. Two good shots there from Kelleher as he caught Ferguson coming in, and there's another good shot there from Ben Kelleher to finish the round.
Nice boxing.
Another good round from both boys there. Plenty of artillery thrown in round 5. Ferguson, a lot more on the front foot, like I was saying. I liked it. Let's see if there's more to come in the last 5 rounds. A couple of good shots coming up here from Kelleher to finish the round.
There's one thing I know for sure, this man, Ferguson, does not miss his road work. He's in great physical condition. He's always there, he's always punching. You know, like I said before, he's just not explosive puncher, but he's always there. How fit is this man? He could fight all night, I believe.
And here we go. We can see Ferguson throwing a lot more leather with a lot more intent. That right hand viciously came over. Now he's going to the body, and here's a left hook right hand. Both catching the attention of Kelleher.
Yeah, exactly.
He's warming
right.
into it. He's warming into it, Carly.
Just as we said, he started picking up with a little bit of explosiveness, and he looks good when he does it. You know, and Kelleher, you know, he's got to make things go his way. He's got to be the first, and he's got to land some heavy shots, because if he doesn't, and if he shies off, this man will just keep coming. And now, Ferguson is starting to find his confidence and unleash a little bit. It will become a hard fight. I mean, no doubt this is already, you know, Kelleher's already feeling the pinch, because it's like you said before, there's always a man in front of you throwing punches. You do not get a rest against a guy like Ferguson.
He's right at the perfect distance where he's just far enough that you can't punch him, but with one step in, he can punch you.
Boys, come on, get your hands free.
And there's no second to relax. There's no breathing, taking your time. As we see a little cut open up on the eye of Ferguson. It could have been an accidental shoulder or elbow. I don't think it was caused by a punch. We'll see if that spurs on Ben Kelleher, because sometimes when a fighter sees blood, you just wake up and you want to try and get your opponent out of there.
Don't hold. Go on, you're holding, come on. Don't hold. Great, step back. Come on, fellas, tidy it up.
See the ante getting increased here from both fighters.
Good to see. You know, it makes you feel good. Sorry, mate. It makes you feel good when you're a fighter and you look over and you see your opponent bleeding. It makes you want to try something. It makes you want to land some more big, heavy punches. Even if it wasn't a clean punch that got the cut, it does wake you up.
It's like that animal instinct, isn't it, Carly? As soon as you see blood, they just go after it. So you can see Ben Kelleher, the output has been massively improved, especially the latter half of this round, as Patrick Ferguson hits him with a good right hand.
I'm wondering, is Ben Kelleher starting to feel the pinch here? Because this is busy rounds, and this man is always coming. He does not give you a rest. Beautiful heavy shots by Kelleher. And Ferguson just keeps coming, just keeps pouring it on. You know, he'll always be first, Ferguson. He'll always be first, and he'll always throw his punches. Like we said, Kelleher does not get a rest. And this is exactly what he needs to do. He needs to fight this man. And he needs to land heavy shots.
2 good shots once again from Ferguson, backing his opponent up.
This is a good round from Ferguson.
Yeah, Kelleher tried to go with him, but Ferguson got the better parts of those later exchanges.
He did.
And a really entertaining round that one was. You can see the dominance starting to be shown here from Ferguson. He started to go forward and he started to land more punches. Kelleher definitely going with him. Good left hand there from Kelleher. But it didn't phase Ferguson. He kept on marching forward, backing his opponent to the ropes, keeping on working.
This man's strength is his fitness. That's his strength. He just keeps coming, and keeps coming.
can see that cut, Carly. It's probably in the best position you would want to cut because it's on the side of the eye, so it's not, obviously, no blood trickling into his eye, impairing his vision.
Move it. Come on, he's got to move it.
4 more rounds to go. No doubt Ben Kelleher's feeling the pinch because, like we said, this man's always in front of him, always coming. You know, I think it would be good for Ben Kelleher to be first, try and land those big shots and then be first again. The more he's first, you notice when he's first, it stops, it slows down. I shouldn't say stop because it doesn't stop. It slows down the output of Ferguson. When he lets Ferguson be first, he will just keep coming.
And you can see he's growing in confidence here, Ferguson, as he comes forward now,
And
landing
he's
more
landing
punches.
beautiful shots. Well, it was a nice last round from him, and this round he started off good too. I think he knows that he's got the fitness and he's been here. He's been here whether it's been in sparring or fighting. He knows that he can outwork his opponents, and that's how he gets his stoppages. That's what he senses now, and that's what he's trying to bring on.
There's no doubt he's a long-distance runner because he's coming on here, but the good shots there from Kelleher.
This is making Kelleher ask questions. It's asking questions of himself, you know what I mean? And every fighter needs those fights that makes you ask questions. How bad do you want it? How much have you got to give? These are the fights you need.
Okay, break, step back.
Big right hand just missing the mark there from Ferguson as he comes back on again with his second attack.
Fellas, stay hold, stay hold.
See, you know, guys like Ferguson, they could even make top fighters ask questions of himself. He will give anybody a hard fight. He will be in there to fight.
Break, step
He'll
back.
be hard to stop because he's so fit, and he'll always be coming. You know, unless you have those beautiful big heavy shots to get him out of there, he'll give everyone a hard fight. So this is a good fight for the career building of Ben Kelleher. It's making him ask questions of himself. It's making him dig deep. You know, you beat this man like Ferguson, you do not beat him easily. You make yourself fight.
You definitely have to work for this fight. There's no doubt about it. There's 2 good shots there from Kelleher, as we say that, but Ferguson back on again.
Yeah,
Look at this punch output from both fighters. They are finding their groove and they're finding it fast.
One thing's clear to me, Nathan. Ferguson knows the feeling of the championship rounds. When it gets late in the fight, he's always there, he's always busy, and he keeps coming. He's like running water. You know, you turn the tap on and the water just keeps coming. That's the type of fighter he is.
Come on, box out, box out.
You can hear the corner of Kelleher saying, sharp defense, sharp defense. They want the opponent to be sharp, they want him on. You cannot take a rest for any second because this man Ferguson will be throwing.
And sharp defense starts with your feet. You have to be sharp on your feet. You have to get out of that distance where you can't get hurt. So as soon as your feet start slowing down, that's when you're susceptible to getting punches thrown and hit and hurt with those punches.
See, one thing's clear to me here. I can tell Ben Kelleher's feeling the pace because when he had his opponent in the corner here, he didn't give himself room. Didn't step half a step back and throw those big shots. He just stayed nice and close, you know, not giving his opponent any room. And that's a sign of fatigue because this is a hard-fought fight. We can see here Ferguson just keeps coming, He will always be first. You know, this is hard. Ben Kelleher is asking questions of himself, and this is good. This is good for a fighter because you've got to go through this in order to advance to the next stage.
Oh, this is definitely career building for Ben. He'll learn more in this fight than he has in his past 14 fights that he's had to date.
You know, a lot of people don't realize what fighters go through to get that victory. You know, sometimes you just got to go through the lonely, most isolated place in that ring and everyone's watching you. But when you come out of it the other side and you win, sometimes it's the most beautifulest feeling in the world.
Mate, I asked him to do the tape on his hand.
I don't think that was a trick from Ferguson's coach because I think he's fit enough. You know, I don't think this man needs a rest or wants a rest.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Time in, box.
As we see, Ferguson first, as usual. I think he's had good success in those last 2 rounds. Like I said, the championship rounds, later on in the fight, the later the fight gets, the better it is for Ferguson because he's in such great condition.
Come on, now, hold. Box out of there.
And this is where Kelleher has to drop. He has to drop his knees, bend his knees, and start banging away to that body. When he had his opponent to the ropes, drop your knees.
Yeah,
Make it
you're
hard
exactly
for your
right.
opponent to rip his guard away from your hands.
I mean, there's a time in the box in the fight for the straight punches, the scoring punches, but there's a time when you just got to chop that tree down. You just got to sit down, give yourself room, especially when he's on the ropes, and swing to that body. You know, that's what I mean. Like, he's here now. He's not taking that half step back. It's because of fatigue.
Yes, I agree. And it was just that pace that was dictated early on by his output and by the sheer presence of Ferguson.
I mean, it is a hard thing to do when you're feeling the pinch, to take that half step back and swing them in. Because, you know, every breath counts. Everything you do counts. You're just trying to stay relaxed. You're trying to stay focused. You're trying to look for that big punch. And it's so hard when this man keeps stepping forward, throwing punches at you.
Step back.
And when you're feeling the pinch, what do? You should be getting back on the jab. This is where I'd like to see him get back on the jab, try and get his second wind. That's it, back on the jab. It's exactly what he needs to do. Stay away from harm's way so he can get his... And there's a good left hook there from Kelleher, but back on the jab, that's what he needs to do.
You know, what you were just saying, Nathan, it comes back to the basics. You've got to perfect the basics, because when you're tired, you do what comes naturally to you. So if you've been going over the basics over and over again in the gym, that will eventually come natural to you. You'll stick to the basics. You see the great fighters, you see the Durans, the Haglers, when they're tired, their balance is still perfect. John Mugabe was a prime example. Even the fights he lost, he was always on balance. He always had leverage. He was always looking for those big shots, even when he was, you know, in losing fights. And he used to tell me, the great John Mugabe, I had the privilege and the honor of training with him at the end of his career, that was sort of the start of mine. He used to tell me he'll do everything in slow motion, because if he can do it 1,000 times right, he only needs to do it once right in the fight. And when I watched the fights of him later on, even when he was tired and even when he was losing, his balance was always perfect. You know, his leverage was always perfect.
Watch your heads. Watch your heads, don't hold him, Patrick.
And this is where Ben Kelleher needs to give himself a bit of room. Every fighter knows that's a sign of a tired fighter, when you lean on your opponent, when you get him on the ropes. He's finding enough here to try and throw some bombs, which is good. End the round strong. He's got to keep going. He's got to breathe in, suck him in, and go.
It's a really good finish there from Kelleher to finish that round. Was it enough to steal it? We don't know. It's not up to us. But that was a really good 10-second burst there from Kelleher.
As Ferguson just walks back to his corner, nothing unusual for him. He's just used to this place. He's used to this lonely feeling. He's used to these championship rounds. As we see here, Kelleher, he finished good there, Ben Kelleher. You know, he unloaded a bit, gave himself a little bit of room. But this man here, Ferguson, nothing seemed to faze him. There was no clean shots landed.
Second down.
Stay right back.
Big thanks to England Consulting, the team at now playing. Round 9.
Two more to go, Nathan.
Yeah, round 9 of 10, the penultimate round.
Get your hands free.
Who will claim victor of this
Break,
round?
step back.
Ben's learning a lot in this fight. He's learning how to trick his way through things. He's learning how to step up when he needs to, and it's a hard learning curve. It really is. It's a lonely place in there. And he's feeling the pinch. He's just got to dig deep. He's just got to dig deep, and he's got to go and tell himself there's only 6 minutes left. 6 minutes of your life to go hard. He's got to swing them in when he can.
Seems as though Kelleher's got a second wind here, because he's throwing with a lot more intent this round and a lot more sting behind his punches once again. So potentially he's got his second wind here, because you can see.
This is where he's got to step back, suck it in, and sink them into the body.
Work inside.
Pat's making it tough. He's doing a good job of holding his elbows, making it really tough for him to break free, to get those good shots off to the body.
But in the other sense, it's good because he's not letting Ferguson go first. He's hustling him. He's hustling him. It stops the output of Ferguson. Even if it's just for a few seconds, it does stop the output. Because you let this man go first, he'll keep going.
Okay, break, step back.
Leaning on him there, that's a good little trick to do.
Yep.
And he's finding this. He's finding these ways in these championship rounds. It's a lonely place. He's finding some good
Down,
little
fellas,
shots
come
here.
on, down,
Now this is where he's got to hustle. He's got to dig deep. He's got to suck it in. He's got to go.
But wow, what an evenly matched fight this is. Really good for the fans.
Beautiful.
Both boys so technically the same.
I've got to say, Nathan, what Ben Kelleher's learning here, you cannot learn by a book or by paper. You've got to go through this. He's got to go through this, and he'll be so grateful he did after this fight, because he's got to dig deep. And even though he might not have the energy to stand back and swing them punches in, he's trying things. He's leaning on him. He's hustling. He is not giving up. He's digging deep, and he's trying to find something, which is a good sign for a fighter. I'm sure his corner will be happy with what he's doing, because he's not giving up the hustle, and he's not letting Ferguson be first.
And I like what he did there. Bullied his man back into the corner. He tried to escape, and he bullied him. He elbowed him. He pushed him back into the corner. That's where he needs him. Look, he's doing it again now.
That's exactly right. It's not clean, but you're right. He's being a bully, and that's good. Because if he's not being the bully, Ferguson will keep coming. See how Ferguson tried to come first? Ben Kelleher is able to shut him down. He's able to stop him and bully him. He's got to bully him. He's got to swing him in.
Come on, work inside. Break, step back.
And sometimes you just got to tie. But he can't let Ferguson come first, because Ferguson keeps coming. The tap's on, the running water. Here comes Ferguson looking. He's got a strong will, but he will keep fighting. Kelleher, he's up to the challenge. Nothing clean, but he's bullying him, he's fighting him, he's hustling him.
Okay, don't hold. Okay, break, step back. Break, step back.
Sometimes when you're in these championship rounds, you want to land a big shot, but it just takes so much energy out of you.
Good round.
I think Kelleher hustled his way back in that round.
Yeah, that was another good round for Ferguson, no doubt. It's a seesawing affair, this one, and that's a good, evenly matched fight.
Ooh. Last round. Last round, Nathan. Big heart by both men. They're both here to fight. They both know they've got to finish strong. And Ferguson comes out as usual, running water, left, right, left.
Come on, fellas, don't hold.
He came out swinging, he did there, Ferguson. Hit him with a good right hand. Who will claim the IBF Pan Pacific Cruiserweight title?
Come on, fellas, try to tidy it up.
You know, I can understand Kelleher making it rough, tying him up, because he's feeling the pinch, as long as he doesn't let Ferguson dictate the pace.
Yep.
If he's tying up and hustling, he's just got to be throwing something. He's got to be pushing him back. He's got to be doing something to make it look like he's still in this fight, because he is still in this fight. And he cannot let Ferguson get the upper hand, especially in this last round. He's shaking his right hand a bit. I'm just wondering if there's a bit of an injury, because he has landed some good shots on the head of Ferguson. Ferguson, look at him. Like I said, he could run a marathon after this fight.
Starting to the body there, Ferguson. Not quite getting to the head, but Kelleher did a good job of spinning him there and backing him into the corner again.
Make it messy. Just don't let him get his way in this fight. Don't let his opponent get his way. Once again, a hello to everybody tuning in around the world on epicenter.tv.
Don't hold. Break, step back. Break, step back.
You can see both boys starting to feel the pinch now, both gassing, both mouth wide open. Here it comes, and here Ferguson, and
down goes the ref.
The first one that canvas is the referee, but here comes Ferguson with a couple of good shots of his own.
Come on, box out of there. Box out. Okay, break, step back. Step back, break.
The referees do such a great job in boxing. You know, for no referees, we don't watch boxing, but everyone laughs every time a referee goes down as Ferguson starts swinging into the body. Kelleher answers back. I know he knows it's the last round, and it's the last minute maybe of the last round. He's got to dig deep, and he's got to throw here. Beautiful. Ferguson just keeps coming. The tap's on, running water. See Kelleher shaking his hand. I'd like to see him throw. I'd like to see him start sinking to the body. Nice work, nice work. Here we go. We can see him finishing strong. Both guys are there, bringing out the best of each other, Nathan DiCarlo.
Yeah, this is so close, it's not funny. Both boys evenly matched. And look, they're swinging for the hills. Both boys still in the 10th round.
Don't hold, don't hold. Okay, break, step back, break. Clean break.
You know, I'm sure there's something wrong with his right hand. He's not throwing it, he's shaking it a lot.
Yeah, I agree, Carly. I think there's something wrong there, but we'll soon find out after the end of the fight. But he's doing a good job with his left hand with 3 left hooks in a row, all landing on Ferguson's chin.
Beautiful. The crowd spurred him on and he's finishing strong as usual. Ferguson is there as the bell goes. An awesome last round of this 10-round fight. And we can see why fighters grow respect for each other after a hard-fought battle like that.
And I tell you what, he just grimaced as they grabbed his right hand. There is no doubt that right hand is either broken or at least fractured.
He's been shaking it for the last couple of rounds. I've seen him always shake his hand. You know, he's knowing that lonely place. You see him there shaking his right hand.
He did a good job with his left hand though. Those left hooks, they kept coming.
He dug deep. That's what everyone wants to see from a fighter, especially his corner. And that's what he wants to see from himself, to know I could dig deep when I needed to. It goes a long way for a fighter and his career.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for these two guys? Fighting for the vacant IBF Pan-Pacific Cruiserweight title, we go to the judges' scorecards. After 10 rounds of boxing, the judges have the scorecard as 96-94, 97-93, 97-93, all for the winner by unanimous decision, the new IBF Pan-Pacific Cruiserweight Champion from Australia, Ben Kelleher. All right, let's grab a quick word off the new champ, Ben Kelleher. Mate, first of all, congratulations. I just want to say that I noticed in that last round you weren't throwing the right. You were shaking it a lot. It looks like it's shaking right now. Do you think you might have broken it?
First of all, can I please say thank you very much for everybody for coming out and supporting me. Thank you very much. I came through a lot to be here today. First of all, the guys I have in my corner helped me to push through the nerves. There's always a lot of nerves in front of the people that you know. I appreciate everybody that spends their hard-earned money. I appreciate the promoters for putting me on. I'm very grateful to be here because I know I won't be fighting for much longer. I'm just very happy to be here.
Mate, you did a fantastic job. He was a tough opponent. He never took a backward step. He looked like he was an awkward guy to fight, but he just kept coming forward.
Yeah, look, I know Patrick is a very fit guy. He's gone the rounds a lot. I prepared for that with the help of the guys at Corporate Box East Brisbane and Ipswich. Carl Brumby works tirelessly to help me. He gives up time with his family. Curtis gives up time with his family. Everybody that helps me get here is wearing this too. And yeah, I hurt my right hand when I fought Jai, my only loss. I broke it. I feel as if I re-injured it winging at the top of his head, but I just tried to push through and keep my numbers up and tie it up so I could stay ahead.
Well, mate, at the end of the day, after the 10 rounds, the belt is firmly wrapped around the waist. You must be feeling absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I would like to please thank Angelo DiCarlo for putting me on this card. He works tirelessly to give Australians a good crack. And again, thank you to the people that spend their hard-earned money to be here. And I thank my family and my friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, the new IBF Pan Pacific Cruiserweight Champion, Ben Kelleher.